Let's call the meeting to order. First off, we'll do roll call. Board Member Evans. Here. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay, Board Member Evans. Here. Board Member Manis. Here. Board Member Cooper.
Here.
Board Member Smith is here. Board Member Spencer.
Here.
And before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I want to welcome Matt Cooper back to the board. He was on the board a little over a year ago, I guess. It's been that long. Well, anyways, he's been on the board once before, and we're glad to have him return. And so now we have a full board and we can get started on stuff. And everyone stand please for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we'll have a moment of silence. Next item is the adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes? No?
A second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. We are at student recognitions, transition ready, the high school students.
We will have those students available. They was excited about presenting in front of the board. We had great success this year. In our first semester of the new transition protocol, students receiving 6 college credits, and we was going to have them here tonight, but due to the weather, we've asked them to wait to the next board meeting. And also, we was going to have our Serve Safe certification, people from our culinary department, and like I said on that, we've asked that they come to the next board meeting.
Our grandparents essay winners from Fox.
Again, the same thing. We have Alexis Taylor, who was our district-wide winner for the Grandparents Essay, and she was not available to come tonight, so we'll recognize her at the next board meeting.
Okay. iReady Growth.
So we're going old school since we didn't know if we had internet or not. Did you? So the first thing I want to talk about is, this is, Matt, we have actually changed continuous assessment tools. When you were here last time, we used ThinkLink, and now we're using something called iReady. And one of the reasons we really like iReady is that for K through 8, not only does the child take an assessment, the assessment is individualized. So if a student's in 5th grade and they start missing a lot of questions, it will back them down on questions. Or if they start doing really well, it'll bump them up on questions and find that child's exact reading and math level. That's one great thing about it. The other is that same assessment is then used to provide the child with interventions if they do 45 minutes in reading and 45 minutes in math every week. So that's what we're really excited about. And you probably, I'm not sure the age of your kids. I don't know if you've seen any of the, I thought so. Okay. So we actually had a student call his aunt and say he couldn't get his iReady to work at home and he wanted to do more. So I talked to a 5th grader on one of the snow days and helped him get his iReady going again. So that's pretty cool. I think we've had some kids working on it. But this is the report that I like the most, is when we get to show growth. And I'm going to do district level results. So mine are the K through 6 or K through 5 combined, and then Mr. McNabb and then next month Ms. Means will probably want to share some highlights about their individual scores when it's their principal's turn to talk. But the thing I wanted to note first is on that first page, it has Menifee County High School. You can't get a growth report on the high school, so that's why that's crossed off. But the highlights on this I like to see is, if you look over here on average scale gain, like in 2nd grade in the district, our kids grew 31 points. And in order to reach their target from test 2 to test 3, they have to go 39. So that's doable. We have, 79% of our kids that met their target. So that, I think that's really good. The same for fourth grade, 95% met the target. And as you can see, if they stay on track with that same level of growth, we'll have that many of our fourth grade meeting the target that was set for them.
So this is the target by the end of the year?
The target by the end of the year, right. You do it
Ah.
first,
So they're
second,
95% away through all the fourth grade curriculum. Is that what that means?
No, they were set a goal to reach from the first test to the second test.
Okay.
95% of them met that first goal.
Okay, so the goal,
Right.
gotcha.
So then, from test 2 to test 3, if as a group, they rolled 19 points, then
It'll
all
be
of them
on-
should, right, so
Okay.
we should have an average of that. So I kind of like that. I did share this with Board Member Manis, and she would like to see, because remember the first time I gave you all just their set scores, you know, where they were in each grade level, and she'd like to see that again as well, and I'll make sure you all get copies of those. But that growth report is just really, I think, interesting. And then you can see it for math as well for K through 8. And as you can see from the graph, math is something we've definitely been working on with our new math series. And the 6th and 7th grade, I mean, how huge is that? The target that was set for them, what percentage of them moved up? And then as you can see, you know, to meet their target for the end of the year, 6th and 7th grade, and even 8th grade for that matter, doesn't have much to go. Now, in order to give you some sort of look at growth for the high school, because I can't create that same report for the high school, I ran a math window 1, which was the first test they took, and a math window 2, and then they did the same thing for reading. And so as you can see, 24% of our 9th graders met their target the first window, then 34% the second window. 10th grade, we went from 9 to 17, and then 11th grade, 2% to 2%. So we know we've got work to do there. The same with reading.
I can speak on the
Yeah.
small growth plan. What happened there, the juniors, is our intervention classes were set up for the freshmen and sophomores for the original schedule we inherited. So those students received those tier 2 instructional classes, whereas now we've readjusted the schedules.
Right. So, reading, 9th had 24 to 31, 10th 10 to 20, and then 11th went from 14 to 13. We had a little backdrop there. I'm sure the same thing applies to the 11th grade reading that applied to the 11th grade math. So the good thing is that the schedules were fixed. I mean, they stopped, dropped, and rolled and changed a majority of the junior schedules who were not where they needed to be. And so that's a good thing about this. So you have those individual scores, Julia, that we were talking about for 9th, 10th, and 11th, but not 12th. We do not give this test to 12th graders because they'll have all just taken the ACT, and we use that to kind of monitor. High school is more about meeting benchmarks than it is about growth, which I don't know, that's a whole philosophical question in and of itself, but that's kind of that's why we don't have that same growth report on the high school. But if you want any any additional data, let me know and email me. That program is just really user-friendly compared to the last one I did. These reports were literally clicks of the buttons, where the ThinkLink I used to do for you all literally took me 3 and 4 hours. So this I can do. So if you think of something you'd like to see, email me and I'll try to get it for you. Any questions? Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you. DEI training.
I will just kind of go back into this I-rated growth, and with the DEI, of course, Matt is new and as far as that, but DEI stands for Direct Explicit Instruction. It is a new instructional process for the Menifee County School District. Mr. Weiss has created a web page on our district web page. It's called the Teacher's Corner. All the information that you need to know about DEI and the information there, you can go to that page under Professional Learning. And there will actually be some videos there and actually some slides that will explain the process, and we're continuously working on that to make that page better. But Mr. Vice has done a really nice job with that teacher corner with the work that he's done with that. But what's really impressive with the direct explicit instruction, it all ties back into a lot of these iReady growth and the goals that's been established. If you, and principals, I don't mean to steal your thunder, some of this stuff, but some of the growth that has just been phenomenal for the people that have really bought into the instructional process of DEI. Kindergarten reading scores, 5% were at or above grade level at the beginning of the school year, 51% now at the end of the first semester. Kindergarten in math, 8% at the first of the year, now that's at 38%. So they may want to go over some of those in their reports, and that way I won't, sometimes I steal their thunder and they get mad at me.
Mr. Spencer, that's why I didn't say those.
Yeah, that's okay.
Try really hard.
I'm just gonna do kindergarten. But I would like to personally thank, and we had those folks that were gonna come to the board meeting, but first of all, the principals and Mrs. Brewer, really, they bought into this direct explicit instruction. They go around and they do, we refer to them as IPOS, which are individual professional observation forms. I think I got that correct. But they actually go around and they're required to do so many rounds of walkthroughs per 9 weeks per semester, and they've done a really nice job of monitoring the use of the direct explicit instruction in the classroom. But I want to personally thank, and I know when I start listing names I'll probably leave people out, but we had a professional development day just explicitly on direct explicit instruction of phases 3 and 4. And once again, if you go online, you can understand the first 2 phases. But this was all led by Menifee County staff members. We stepped back from KDE and we let them lead this professional development day. And Jody Blackburn, Mrs. Brewer kind of took the lead and worked with, but Jody Blackburn at Menifee Elementary, Lana Schwartz at the high school, Carrie Hendrickson at Botts Elementary, Cassandra Palazzo at the high school, Sherry Patrick, first grade teacher, and Kelly Abney. And I'm sure there were others that, Jennifer Wells, I know she had a big part with Kelly Abney, but the entire staff bought in to the direct explicit instruction, and actually this PD was led by those staff members. And it was one of the best. I've been doing this for 26 years almost, and it was one of the best professional learning days that I'd ever witnessed. So I want to really commend those folks, and we're hoping they would be here tonight where I can personally recognize them, and as board members just let them know that you're proud of the work that they're doing. And I think you're starting to see the results of this iReady, of the hard work that's going on at the school. So we're very pleased with that, and I just wanted to personally recognize those members for making that day a very successful event. And Principal, if I left off people during your report, please help me out.
Next is reports. I'll read the values, beliefs, and goals for our district. We'll be reviewing some changes for those later. The vision is We Are Menifee, where we ensure every student transitions on a pathway to a successful future in academia, military, or career. Our mission, empowering future generations to be productive and successful in a global economy through community collaboration, creative thinking, instructional rigor and relevance in order to improve the quality of life for all. Our values are strong work ethic, reliability, positive focus, determination from staff, parents, students, and community, foundation for successful transition for a solid future, self-worth, everyone is valued, compassion, parent involvement, attendance, and school pride. Our core beliefs: a good education will pull kids out of poverty and make an impact in our community. Teachers and administrators should passionately teach fundamentals while instilling morals and ethics. Every Menifee County student can learn at higher levels. Personalized education to meet the learning needs of students. And our goals: by 2020, all students will graduate prepared for successful transition into academia, military, or career. By 2020, we will have 96% student attendance rate. By 2020, all students at end of grades K, 3, 5, 8, and 10 will be at or above grade level based on iReady math and reading data. And by 2021, Menifee County School will have a new 21st century K-8 school facility. Next is our treasurer's report, our munis balance sheet.
I know you guys don't have these. Man, I'm short.
General fund, we're at 1.8 million. Special revenue, 44,000. District activity, which is our school money at the district office, is 41,000. Capital outlay is 78,000. Our district building fund, which is our nickels, is 430,000. Construction fund is the 151,000 you guys have set aside for your land acquisition. Your debt service is at a negative 66,000, and you know that's where the money's coming in. The other part of our funding from the state comes in at the end of the year. And the food service is at 227,000.
Sitting good in food service.
You do have access to those, you just don't have, you had time to read those, so it's not like.
Yes, we
You've not
have.
had time to see them.
Yeah.
Just want to clarify that.
I make a motion, we approve the municipal balance sheet.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Our monthly financial report.
All right, so our total for our general fund revenues, year-to-date is 4.5 million. This time last period, we were at 4.2. Now, that's consistent that's because of the property taxes started in October instead of November this last year. And then when we go over to the general fund expenditures, we're at a total of 1.8 in expenditure, that's not right, 2.7, sorry, wrong line. And last year at this time, we were at 2.8, and our contingency is right around $1 million.
What
Those are
percentage is
highlights.
that?
Excuse me?
What percent contingency
It's
9.8%.
9.85 or
Yeah,
something like that.
Between 9 and 10%.
The contingency is based on both general plus food service, so I've got a separate sheet I put on there, so it's 9.45.
State board meeting that'll be presented, I guess, February the 6th, it was right at 9.5%. Which that's a healthy, you're required by law to have 2%.
Yeah,
So
there were years that we were struggling to get the 2%, I know, so. Like seeing, I make a motion that we approve the monthly financial report.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Bank rec.
All right. You can see this, we have a reconciled balance in our bank statement of 2.7 million, which I know that makes April happy. I had a $49 miscellaneous, and I think that's just, well, I'm pretty sure that's an effective date. I've told you about those. Munis doesn't backdate stuff, and their dates are crazy.
Yeah.
And it's very normal. But other than that, everything's an easy month.
Make a motion we approve bank reconciliation.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Our cash flow statement.
Okay, so what I've done is, of course, the first set of columns is this year's numbers for your receipts and your expenditures. The bottom is last year's numbers. So what I did since we received the October property taxes is I reduced it from the revenues on down here under this
To give you a
part.
clearer picture of what you're gonna get.
Right. So we still look like we're gonna hit right around 2 million altogether. And because I'm reducing the 151,000 you're planning on using for land out of that, so it's still looking like maybe 1.1 in the general fund at the end of the year.
That's not bad. It was like 1.4 at one point, wasn't it? So. It went down a little, but that's okay.
Well, we do have a lot of expenditures, and we're still talking about an older building, and we still are having heating issues. and-
Well, this is a conservative number too. This isn't,
Yes, this
you know.
is very conservative.
Yeah.
we'll remain optimistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Make a motion to approve the cash flow statement.
I'll second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Assessment coordinator report.
That one mark is not
Oh, just the other was it?
Already,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's not what she did, is it? No, it is not.
No, it's on down
Okay.
here.
I thought I went really quick.
Attendance report and transportation report.
Have
breakdown for the first 20 months of the school year, where our attendance stands basically.
The price is near time we see this deal.
Fourth month actually ended on December 1st, but we actually have not completed the fifth month yet. We still have a few days to go to get in, complete that fifth month. Right now, we're standing at 924.575. That would be what actually is funded for next year's. The month 4 numbers are on the back of the page, so I'm all about saving papers.
When is it that our funding ends up tied to our students? Like what date is it? I mean, there's got to be a particular date in my understanding that.
We'll do a superintendent's annual attendance report on June, it has to be submitted by June 30, I think.
Okay.
And then that's what your
End of the
funding will be
school
based
year,
upon. Right now, we've completed SEEK trend data that we submitted. I think we based that number on 923 or 925. So we are, when you're going to look at your budget in a few moments for your draft budget, that will be what those numbers will be reflected on. So we are making preparations, realizing that our numbers are going to have a decrease. And on a positive note, our numbers, and I'm probably stealing Mr. Hacker's thunder, so let me let him
You're
finish.
good at that.
Let me let him finish. Hey, let's see what he comes up with.
Well, I was basically going to say, after there were any questions about this, even though the fourth month actually is not very good as far as the ADA, since the ending of the last semester, we've had 11 new students enrolled, so we'll see
May bring
if
it
that
up a little.
holds. Yes.
So that's the thunder I was going to steal.
So,
Well, it looks like, we had 933 month 1, 925, 925, but then last month we were at 913, so I'm guessing sickness is probably the majority of that, I'm
look at the
assuming, so.
funding percentage, which is actually your attendance percentage for each month for the schools, and that can kind of tell you how the attendance was for that particular month. For month 4, you can see that Bots was 92.17%, and that's really, really low for them. I mean, normally they're up leading the charge as far as the attendance percentage is concerned. They've been really low the last couple of months, so hopefully they'll get through it and that'll trend upwards. Just having more students will help. We would like to have the ones we already have getting to school, and that's dependent upon, their will. We certainly don't want them to come to school if they're sick, because that just makes everybody else sick. So.
Exactly. Well, maybe this little snow will get rid of all the little bugs going around.
Yeah, hopefully that will help having a good break. Another thing that I just this is not something that we're going to make a motion. I just wanted to kind of do this for your information as we go along. That's the calendar. All kinds of nice colors on it. We actually had a teacher planning day that was on January 2nd, and we're going to have one tomorrow. So that will take those 2 days up. Basically, any day we're out of school and not having classes is an opportunity to get the teacher staff days in. They have to get it in 5 additional days outside of student attendance days. So. And of course, we don't like them coming in when there's a danger of being on the roads. And we believe that tomorrow will be a good opportunity because there was a lot of melting going on. So, but to this point, we actually can consider the eclipse as actually a weather day too. So we canceled school because it was a danger, for that day. And then we've also missed just this January. Tomorrow would be May 7 additional days due to weather. So we've basically already used all our 5 bank days. And we've, due to the teacher planning days, we've had to move as well. So beyond the days that were scheduled, we've canceled 9 classes 9 days now. 2 of them we've made teacher planning days, and then we've used our bank days. So the 2 teacher planning days, and then the 2 days that were not bank days, we've had to move. We were due to get out on the 16th of May, so now it's the last day for students is the 22nd. And basically from here on out, every day we miss is going to be have to be made up somewhere, added onto the end of the calendar, or going on a day when we planned on being out. For example, like maybe our spring break. So just kind of for your information, are there any questions about this kind of revised calendar? As far as transportation, I don't really have anything that has changed. We've certainly not been in school very much to change since last month. There is kind of a hope, if you've seen the governor's projected budget, that it will not be that case, because as far as transportation, it's a 61% cut for all districts. And for us, that would be almost $150,000. So just kind of let you know that that's out there, and we don't hope it comes to fruition, but it is always a possibility. So.
And for Mr. Cooper, we do have a bus garage now, and it's down the Means across the road from the Family Dollar that way in Bergen Hills.
Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Hacker, you read my mind, because I was getting ready to ask you this next question. When's the last day of school? Perfect. So you stole my thunder.
PDSA instructional report.
I'll be giving that report this evening. Just want to, Ms. Brewer was unable to be with us this evening, and she's been working on several different things, and with our governance piece as far as the Big Rock we're on now, our 150-day plan. One of the things as far as the governance piece goes is we will be looking at and approving the CDIP for the district tonight that Ms. Hacker will explain to you in a few moments. We'll also be doing our upslope training, which will be with kind of a code of conduct for staff members. That will be coming up very soon. We've also been selected to receive the Gear Up grant along with Wolfe County, Goffin County, Floyd County, and Pike County. There's some upcoming trainings that will be coming up with that, and so we just want you to be aware of those things. We've also scheduled a district administrative retreat. That will be coming up in July. Other things as far as technology, and I went over some of this earlier, is Mr. Vice has created the technology corner, and I would encourage you as parent or as board members, parents of kids, I would encourage you to take a look at that, and also encourage when you see people out in the community, let them know what our teachers are doing, because they're doing worthwhile work for this school district. We're also looking at another big piece of the technology is actually purchasing some laptops for staff. We will be, and you should see on the agenda tonight of the KETS first offer of assistance, that money is finally being released. So we will start the process of purchasing 80 laptops for district staff members. That will replace their actual desktops, and that way we can set up and utilize more labs. And also we'll be working with the schools in order to purchase Chromebooks as we start hopefully our goal toward implementation of one-to-one devices for our students. But we'll be spending a whole lot of money coming up very soon in technology, which is desperately needed. So those are some of the things on the upfront as far as that goes.
What's the ratio now?
Mr. Vice, any idea on as far as, it's probably kind of a 2-to-1 ratio, but that would include
labs.
Labs and everything of that
I think
nature.
that's what it is on the school book.
So currently we're a long way off from that.
Have we heard anything about the 21st Century Grant?
That will be awarded in March.
Okay.
So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. We were very fortunate on the Gear Up grant. We're able to use, I think we get $66,000 for this first year. and that we will be able to purchase some Chromebooks with that money. So with that, we're going to be able to purchase a lot of Chromebooks. The only, I guess it's fortunate for Mrs. Means, is the vast majority of that Garrett money for the first 2 years will be spent at Trinity Elementary, and then we'll go to the high school. And we're going to try to include bots in as much as we can. A lot of theirs will be professional learning activities for staff members. And then we'll also, with Title I and other things, we'll try to make sure those students receive the same
Just use
types of
money from different
money
areas.
from different cans. The assessment piece, of course, we'll be working on a course code rollout. That's totally a change, and we'll be having more things to explain to you with that. We have created a guidance counselor cadre where Ms. Hacker meets with the guidance counselors on a monthly basis. Also, she's works with the school health coordinator, and that's part of the PDSA on a monthly basis, where she meets with our school nurses and works on the biggest thing on that school health component right now is the new immunization requirements that are coming up for 2018, 2019, so which will affect just about every parent in the district of those new immunization requirements. So there'll be some things that'll be coming out as far as that goes. Just looking through the remainder, we'll be doing, I went over a lot of this already with the curriculum and the DEI process. Talked about the Gear Up grant. Just a variety of different things through their attendance. Mr. Hacker's already went through the majority of his. Mr. McCoolcock will be going over some of his report here in a few moments as far as the facilities and food services. We are hopefully getting a little bit closer to making land acquisition in the near future, so we'll hopefully, once we have more information on that, we'll be able to share that with you, but I really don't have any more information to share with that than what I have in the past. But the rest of it is just kind of standard procedure. So if you have any questions about this, we'd be more than happy to answer any of those for you. And of course, Mr. McCoolcock tonight set up the public forum for the nutrition and wellness, and we appreciate him for doing that. So we started a 150 plan, and we will be meeting Mrs. Smith, our district ER person, and I will be meeting with staff members on, the vast majority will be Monday. I think Kelly's will be Tuesday to look over the 150 plan. And this should be sent down. The state board meets on February 6th, so they should have this. They already have the 120, and hopefully they'll have the 150, but that they'll have, they could have access to it. It will not be completed till the 9th, but they could potentially have access to it.
All right, student learning and support items, board minutes from January 4th. All board members were present except for Mr. Cooper here. He just got
He was officially sworn in on
yesterday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay. So I'll make a motion that we approve the January 4th minutes if there's no questions.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. And then you'll have to abstain because you weren't there. Motion carries. Subsequent claims, current claims, and salaries, and bills for payment.
You shouldn't notice anything that's unusual. There wasn't a whole lot going on, of course, during Christmas. They are starting to make some expenditures now for some new books and supplementals and some new items. I think Word Nerds are their new thing they're doing. I learn something new every day.
Word nerds.
Word Nerds. So, but there's really nothing new. Now you will be seeing some new things when we get to the laptops and the Chromebook purchases that Kelly and I are working on pretty hard.
I'll make a motion we approve subsequent claims, current claims, salaries, and bills for payment.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. We met on the 4th to talk about our district vision and values statements, and the board kind of discussed how we wanted to make changes on those, and then Mr. Spencer was going to have his leadership team look at them as well. Did you do that?
They looked at those, and they were very appreciative of them, and were in favor of them 100%.
Favor of them 100%,
So,
okay.
and those are the only changes that were made, is you just switch from the kind of the college career ready to the foundation for successful transition for a solid future, and then and the goals you read those off with, and then those changes, and then also the facility will stay on there. But those are your changes that was made.
Does anyone have any questions or, I know Matt, you didn't really get to, you weren't part of that meeting, but,
It seems like nitpicking.
uh-oh, what was your nitpick?
We talked about our goal is benchmarking, and our core belief is that every student learn at higher levels. If we met a benchmark, is our goal actually make that child learn higher level? And once we get to our benchmark, we met our goal, right? Our goal is to benchmark, right? That's our philosophy. Statewide, we set a benchmark, we meet it, and then we have success. So it seems counterintuitive and backwards.
Well, we want to push kids above
I
benchmarks
agree.
if possible,
I-
yeah.
And that's where it would tie into that goal, Matt, of that at or above grade level.
I like above.
Yeah.
I agree with you. No,
I like
agree.
above too.
I was a subpar student because I wasn't capable, because I did what I had to do, that's where I stopped. And it's to my detriment. And so if I can be a part of preventing that kind of culture, even peripherally and aside, just we better benchmark and even for above a little bit, that's good enough. I want to be, never mind the top 10 district, or I want to be the very best in the state, because we can be. And we can be, there's no point in shooting for top 10. I was thinking, if you're capable of 5, shoot for number 1. If you end up 22, great. But shoot for the very best. And so it seems conflicting to the benchmark, because that sets a level that I want to be striving to be the very best. And so I like that. But I know benchmarks philosophically is right statewide, but I disagree with it on that nitpicky kind of sense. That's all I have to say.
Once you're well taken, and we'll look at, we'll have an opportunity to look at. That's one of the things that I hope that.
I'm on board, I just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem whatsoever. Appreciate the thought process.
Does anyone have any other comments? So you want us to hold off on that, or should we just go ahead and we can revamp them later? Or?
You can revamp it later, you can approve, we can
Revamp.
always revamp. We won't print anything until we see where we are.
Okay. I move to approve the vision, mission, values, and beliefs and goals for the district.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. PM agreement with HMC.
I think we can all see that our building services, having them available to us to come in and prevent some of the catastrophes that we have, and then help us out when we've got those big ones. So what they did this year is, they're being able, it's going to be $19,000. It's for it's for a 2-year period. Quarterly payments of those. Is what we're signing for is 2 years, but it'll be $19,000 a year. They're very good to come when we need them. They do use their PM hours if they're available to work on other things that aren't preventative, because we're getting our stuff in shape. And they're helping us kind of guide us in a way to fix more of having the new part of this high school talk to the old part of this high school. And that's something that's going to be our goals toward the future, is kind of having these systems communicate and maybe not have AC running.
One had hot and one had cold.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add on that, Mr. McCool?
My relationship with HMC has been really great. You can pick up the phone and call them. Basically, they're here within 8 hours to 24 hours the next day. It's whatever.
That's about all you can
the
ask
emergency
for,
is. And they're real easy to work with.
Well, I know whenever they first came in, they found all kinds of problems with our equipment, and, it was kind of a big cost initially just to fix all those things, but, it seems like that those costs are getting
We don't
less.
see them
and
as often on
yeah,
here, and
they're
they're not
more
as big as they were.
preventative measures, so so far I've been very happy with the way things have gone too. We just have a lot of units and a lot of old units. And
Well, and we're not going to 2 and 3 different companies. We've got one that knows our systems, that can tell us how to get our systems where we need them to be. And that's really what we need, is to get those moving together and working together.
I make a motion that we approve the PM agreement with HMC for 2018. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Official offer of assistance for School Facilities Construction Commission.
All right, so we got this really nice little letter that tells us that we have to accept this official offer for the school district. It commits the school district to adhere to statutes and regulations, and the offer is the annual debt service in the amount of $28,000 to be used toward proposed construction and major renovation of facilities. So we have to do this so that we can keep our portion of the offer.
I make a motion we accept the official offer of assistance from School Facilities Construction Commission.
And in your other stuff, we had to put in where we showed that we had that offer, where we had that money available, and that'll be going into the state, well, not tomorrow, but Monday.
So this is free money, I mean, so if you don't
Yeah.
approve it, you don't want it.
Well, yeah, we want $28,000. Greg seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Now the draft budget.
All right, so the draft budget is a interesting little thing. So all you do in this budget is you work on Fund 1 and Fund 51. So really, you're only getting a big portion of our stuff, but you're not getting the full picture, because you don't
Lori, I'm gonna
include
intervene a little bit. Make sure Mr. Cooper knows what Fund 51 is, just to make sure.
food service. Sorry. So you're not dealing with any of your grants, which are a large portion of some of our payroll and those kinds of things. So what I have found in Munis is a program where we can do salary projections, and then I can roll those into our tentative budget. But we really couldn't roll those into our draft because we don't do the Fund 2 right now, and we don't have any numbers. So what I did is I took the, like the seat numbers that you see in here are from the report that we pulled based on the lower numbers, and those are all in here. I've got our revenues. If you look on page 5 of this, our total revenues for next year, they're lower than this year. Our current year is 9.9 million, and next year I've got us at 9.7, and that is going over. That is, that's because of that C clause. Then on our expenditures, of course, they're the same amount, 9.7. But now this doesn't go to KDE. This is something you guys review. The tentative budget will have more information in it because I'll have some numbers for Fund 2. And I can import all those salary projections, because we know we're getting some big hikes on the county retirement for all the classified staff. That withholding amount is increasing almost 10%.
And then by then, maybe we'll know what this budget's shaking out to for like transportation and those other areas.
It'll be better. But based on the numbers that we have, I did not increase any property taxes. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff. And I did reduce the seat. So we did a very conservative budget.
It's really, you can't even really base your
Well,
anything
because
on it, to be honest,
this is
because it
gonna
doesn't
change
have a
until the
clear
budget
picture.
comes out.
Yeah, it's not a real clear picture, but it's a place to start, so.
Yeah, it is definitely a starting place. We did have a very good budget meeting where we discussed the needs of the district, and we've implemented them through here. I'm hoping that a lot of the things that we met in the budget to do, we'll be able to do this year, because we have saved that money. So that's our plan with the laptops and the Chromebooks and kind of trying to implement as much as we can this year.
Yeah. Especially if we're gonna have that decrease.
You put that in there.
And of course, in the proposed governor's budget, the seat was held harmless, but then you start looking at your transportation costs that Mr. Hacker just mentioned. And so you're looking at, roughly 200,000 difference in just your seat money in addition to those other things. So we were going to tighten our belt a little bit more, because the district really needs, with the condition of the buildings and so forth, we really need to maintain, a healthy contingency
yeah.
in order to take care of those things that the need may arise.
And that's
Well, we
why a lot
focused-
of it waited with the KETS offer of assistance. We waited on that with the laptops, and we're waiting. But now we made a really smart move, in my opinion, with our HMC agreement for these last 2 years. We've got to, we're at the point where we know, they know our systems, and that's going to help us quite a bit.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I do. I think that's gonna help quite a bit, because when we first, before we got with HMC, it was like every time there was $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 worth of fixing being done by this company and that company, and, our people were trying and couldn't, and it was kind of a mess, so.
It was very hectic.
Yeah, so this is better, but,
You learn the system and stuff.
Well, it's just like if you think of your home and your HVAC unit at home, and you get a different company to come in and look at it, and one does, so it's been a very good partnership for us.
It has been.
does anyone have any questions on the draft budget?
Make a motion to accept 2018, 2019 draft budget.
I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Sick leave cost for the end of the year.
Okay, so what most school districts do is at the end of their fiscal year, they set aside 50% of the sick leave balance that they would have to pay for the people that we're supposed to set aside.
Close to retirement, for
That's close to
instance?
Yes.
retirement. So what
How
we
many
do
years they have to have
is
this, Bartley? Over 20?
we do over 20 years for the teacher's retirement, and we do 55 years with 5 years experience on the county retirement classified staff.
Okay.
That way, we're getting everybody. At the end of last year, we were right around 150,000. And that would be, they only get 30% of their sick leave. So what I would like to do is for you guys to commit the fund balance, so that what we would do would be, those funds would not, they're still available to us to use, but they're set aside. So you won't see those in your beginning balance next year. They'll actually be on your balance sheet, and it'll say
As a
sick leave
Escrow.
payable.
As an
an
asset.
escrow account.
Gotcha.
So, it'll be right around $75,000. I still think you're gonna have beginning balance next year of over $1 million. But this $75,000, if we make any sick leave payable, we'll transfer it from that amount.
Instead of waiting until the end of the year and trying to come up with
So
it.
right now, what I'm doing is I have put in our budget the $150,000.
Mhm.
So in this way, you wouldn't have to budget for that. It would just be paid out of that. You would transfer it out of that sick
Out of
leave
that little fund.
balance each time. Because really, I've increased your expenditures for
reflect
the
it.
sick, on the budget for the sick leave instead of putting it here. And this is what our auditor recommended. And I think this is probably a good plan. Then you'll be able to see that, and we'll be
Yeah, it's like,
closer
just
on
like, it'd be a little savings account out
Yeah.
here to the side, for instance,
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, because it's something that, we might have to pay if that person retires, and you might not, but it is a liability to the district
Well,
to
now, these
have,
are
to have to
updated.
pay for it, so.
Right.
yeah,
And we have
I
to do
think-
this at the end of the year, every year, and.
So you're just gonna start with the budget,
There's only
adding,
us.
adding a line item for it,
Yeah.
so. Gotcha.
But we've got everybody on here, and that's kind of how we do that.
I think it's a good idea. From an accounting standpoint anyways, it's a good idea.
Well, we'll protect our budget a little bit better.
I make a motion that we approve, committing 50% of sick leave cost to the end of the year fund balance.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Kent's offer of assistance.
I would ask that you table this because I didn't get my letter in,
Okay.
because we were hoping, because we heard about it 2 weeks ago, but we didn't get our letter in. So if you can table that for next
Get it
month, we'll
tomorrow.
probably get it tomorrow.
It's always.
But we're really excited about being able to purchase new laptops for our teachers. So those are some of the funds that we're using for that.
So do you want to have a special
No.
before, or okay. I didn't know if you had to, have our official approval to
Well, yes.
spend any of the money, so.
The assistance has to be approved by you guys. You guys have to approve a journal entry. But
We
I'll
can do
have the
that
letter
next
telling
month.
you what that is. It's $16 for ADA for this time, and then we get $5 for the next time.
total.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
No,
It's
it's just
about
me.
30,000.
Usually we get our first one in like October.
Oh.
Yeah,
It is
we've been
late then, yeah.
we've been like this, because
Yeah.
we've been planning this a while, so we've been
Okay.
like waiting for this letter.
All right.
I make a motion to table the first officer assistant for kids.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Contract between Community Family Clinic and Board of Education.
What do y'all lead, whoever?
Give it up.
Nope, it didn't download from the,
I'm gonna say
It's
it was
not a
on our
thing
thing,
for-
because I
Nothing's
looked at
changed
it.
to it. Nothing's changed.
It's the same thing as before, right, for a person, for-
They just got it in writing and they sent it to us, so we just did it.
Yeah, it's for like doing physicals and those kind of things.
We just got it, everything, right.
That's
for our business. Yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah. Yeah, like drug testing and stuff too, yeah.
Yes.
That thing. I make a motion, we approve the contract between the Community Family Clinic and the Board of Education.
A second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Now receipt.
So we've kind of been talking about this process the past few months, and it really ties into what Mr. Spencer went over with the PDSA. Our goal has been, and Kelly's kind of just shooting up some of the things that are in your packet.
which one do you want me to show first?
You don't, really the only one I'm going to talk about is the goals, and so you're on the right one. But in your electronic packet, you're going to have copies of our needs assessment, our quarterly report, and actually, Julia, that information you're wanting on iReady will be in that quarterly report.
Okay.
So you've got that. The principals have already put that in. So we use all of that to do our needs assessment, and then we wrote our goals based on that needs assessment. And we did, I want to say, the best job we've ever done of having the principals create as good a plans as they could as well to lead their schools. And one of the things that shows that we're all on the same page is that in your packet you have what's called the key core work processes. And it shows straight up, red, yellow, green, where we think we are on everything from curriculum to parent involvement, where we think we are and where we think we need to work. And the district key core work processes that the district ILT, our instructional leadership team, completed matches with what the principals completed with their leadership team. And at the district level, we have to have 5 goals, and you can see here their proficiency, and then those key core work processes I was talking about, the ones that we're using to meet our objectives and goals are noted on this little sheet, and then our activities go along with each one of these. So for example, our proficiency goal, of course, is to meet or exceed students at the proficient level, and the way we're doing that is through our curriculum meetings and professional learning and the walkthroughs that IPOS Mr. Spencer talked about. And as you can see on the far right-hand side, with this Gear Up money, they needed copies of our CDIP as well. And as soon as you all approve this, Lori will send that in with our Gear Up information. And this just shows how we're trying to integrate those their funds with our goals. The next is our GAP goal, which is saying that we want to get our students who are most at risk performing at higher proficiency rates. And then the next is graduation rate goal, and of course that's a goal that mirrors the high school goal. That's one goal that we're doing really well on. We want to maintain, or as Matt would like to see us do, exceed. Our graduation rate goal is already where it needs to be, but we want to not just keep it there, we want to try to exceed even that. Growth goal, and that is a goal that's required K through 8 to have a growth goal. And then the last one is a transition readiness. And in the past, you've always heard us talk about transition ready with high school seniors. And you all know from doing the work on the vision and mission statement, and as you all noted earlier with your new statements, that we're looking at transitions from preschool into kindergarten, from primary, and from 8th grade to 9th grade. So doing little checks along the way to see if kids are on the right path. And that's where you can see our activities. The plan that we write at the district level is a monitoring plan and support, whereas the plans that the principals wrote in conjunction with their ILTs and presented to their councils are where the rubber hits the road as far as the actual work that's done with students. Our goal is to just, as you can see all throughout there, we've written monitor and support, monitor and support. So the really cool thing about this is that now with our PDSAs, as you can see, these to our lockstep with the things Mr. Spencer went over earlier, and this document's now a living document, something that we've wanted for a long time. It's not just compliance anymore, it really helps lead what we're doing. So what we need is a motion for you to approve the new CEDAR.
I make a motion that we approve the new CEDAR.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Federal funds for next school year. Yes, we want them.
Those, this is actually Dawn's for her Medicare and all those things that you're approving. She needs done.
Yeah, we have to do this every
And
year.
let me send our condolences out to Ms. Hardeman. She had a death in the family, so we'll send the condolences out to her.
I make a motion we approve the federal funds for the next school year.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Administrative procedures.
Okay, this is mine. So when I have to look at our procedures a lot to see, I'm always going through a policy and procedure, trying to find exactly what we should be doing. And when I started looking at our purchasing, I've done a significant amount of changing since I've been here. So what we did is I kind of went through and I talked about everything that we do and what we're requiring and what we want everybody to be on the same place with, so they can go to this and they can see what's going on. And where we've implemented requisition entry, and our principals and administrators are able to go into Munis and approve, and that is just so much better than where I thought it was going to be. So exciting. And so I've kind of put all of that in there, and at this point, they actually get an email telling them what their purchase order number is. So the day of us printing out 3 different purchase orders and sending them in snail mail, and it may take a week to get there, and then the order, and then they put it back in snail mail and send it, is over, hopefully. Now, I've not pushed them that direction all the way yet, because we're having, that's a little hard on people.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to. It's going to be an email. We're scanning stuff into them now so they can place orders, and we're just not making a tremendous amount of copies. So I've kind of put everything in there and kind of gave them the regulations. If we have a new vendor, they have to give us a W-9, or we're not doing it. So everybody's been on board. Everybody's been great about this. So this is just to give you an idea of exactly how everything works from the time we start trying to decide to purchase to
Actually
the end.
purchase.
And this is what they do now. It's a lot bigger than it was.
There's a lot of red on there.
Yeah.
But we don't have to we don't have to approve procedures, we just have to
No.
review them. Policies we do, so. Anyone have any questions on that procedure? And we've got the second reading of administrative policies for this school year.
Awesome. So this is what I was telling you guys, that it was we needed to be more clear with. This is your second reading on this. I think we took out personal friend, we took out every relative, we defined what we said were bereavement days, and I think it works out a little bit better because these are days that we pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very, pretty much,
It was
my
personal
second
friend.
cousin's boyfriend's next door neighbor died, you could
Well,
go.
it said relative and personal friend, so
Yeah.
we kind of defined exactly what that was, and we made sure to add the step parent, step child, step group, the steps on there.
Yeah.
Make sure that we had stuff like that.
If you did have something like that, you'd have a personal day that would make up for that. So it's not
Right,
like we're
yeah.
telling you you can't go,
Yeah.
we're just a
Right.
clarification of the emergency.
For the days that we will pay for.
Yes.
Right.
But most businesses have that kind of a policy, and some have no policy actually, unless
Most
it's
businesses
an
say.
immediate. It has to be,
Yeah.
a spouse, a
So
child,
we're-
or a parent, pretty much.
So once again, you're not denying people the opportunity, but you're just saying you're classifying what an emergency day actually
Would be.
would be.
And that is for both certified and classified, so they'll be the same.
So make a motion, we approve the second reading of policy 03.2236 and 03.1236.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Fundraisers. Anyone have any questions on those snack sales and picnic tables at the high school? I had one of their picnic tables from like 5 years ago, and it's still good.
On the snack schedule. Yeah, I wanna, let's make sure that they meet.
Coke products? When? When are they selling those?
We just need to make sure that they're in compliance with food service regulations.
Please.
Yeah, that is the one with the FM, yeah.
If it's after school, it's no big deal.
It's after school.
Okay, as long as it meets the guidelines for the National School Lunch Program.
All their own things.
And just follow through with Mr. McCoolcock on that. And I would ask, to help with the board and so forth, that let's just make sure that if we do have food items or something of that nature, that you run that fundraiser by Mr. McCoolcock to make sure that we are in compliance with that, because you can't get into major, get into $1,000 fine real quick for that, so.
I make a motion, we approve fundraisers.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Personnel notifications. I don't know if you've been able to read them or not.
We do have some, and Kelly may have to go. where we
Zoom
go.
in.
Well,
You have one here?
There you go.
Okay, I knew he could help me out. Okay, we have to go up a little bit more. Kelly. There we go, I'm good now.
One word.
I didn't say I was completely,
Yeah.
would like to announce the addition of the following staff members. Joey Buckler, she's new LBD teacher. She works half day at Menifee Elementary and half day at Watts Elementary. Brandon Cobb, substitute bus driver, and Rebecca Beecraft, full-time bus driver. District resignation of Justin Lee, bus driver. No terminations, no transfers, retirements. Colleen Elkins, certified staff member, and Tina Lawson, classified staff member.
Informational items, school board recognition month.
Okay. Did bring the newspaper with me. I do want to state that this is a School Board Member Appreciation Month, and I want to personally thank the board attorney here, Conley, and I were sitting having conversations before the board meeting, but we're very pleased with the progress in the Menifee County School Board. You all have it's a pleasure working with you, and I just want to personally thank you for the job that you're doing. We got a new addition of Mr. Cooper. I didn't get to work with Mr. Cooper long before, but I'm looking forward to building a successful board team here for the students in Menifee County. And I can, what I'm so proud of you guys is the decisions that you make is based on what we're doing to improve student achievement in this county. If you start looking over the iReady scores and start looking at the variety of things that you all have accomplished since state management, it is very appreciative of the work that you're doing. And I just want to personally thank you and look forward to working with you as we continue this track of state management and hopefully lead to where I always tell everyone I'm trying to work myself out of the job. But you all have made that much easier, and I appreciate that. There is a thing in the local paper, a proclamation that we had signed by Judge Executive Stiltner and Mayor Bryant, and I'll read that out for you guys. And these are all heartfelt, and they're really appreciative. Whereas our community values a quality education as a vital step along the pathway to success for our children, and whereas April Smith, Greg Spencer, Julia Manis, and Brenda Evans, and we'll also include Matt Cooper, contribute greatly to this community through their services to the Menifee County Board of Education. And whereas these decision makers are responsible for maintaining strong, effective budgetary oversight, high standards for employment, and a safe, well-managed set of schools facilities, and whereas these board members are serving our community with integrity, honor, and a commitment to our children's future, and whereas January 2018 marks Kentucky's observation of their contributions through School Board Recognition Month. Therefore, we, Mayor, Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2018 throughout this community as School Board Recognition Month, and urge all citizens to honor April Smith, Greg Spencer, Julia Manis, Brenda Evans, and now Matt Cooper for their services to the Menifee County Board of Education. Signed on this date, January 3rd, 2018, Edward Bryant, Mayor, Rick Stiltner, Judge Executive. So I just want to personally thank you all and thank you for a job well done.
Next item is nutrition physical activity report from Mr. McCullough.
This is our annual little thing that we do. I've been doing for the last 3 years. It's a requirement by KDE and school nutrition. It keeps us in compliance with the National School Lunch Program. Basically what it is what we've done this year, and basically a few things of what we'll be doing in the years to follow or in the upcoming months or whatever. I went into a little bit more depth with it too. I actually showed the meals that we actually serve to the community, some information in relation to staff and stuff. The summer meal service that we provided this year, the actual meals that we put out to the kids.
19,000, that's impressive.
Yes. And we hope to grow even more this year. We do partner with a company called Alliance for a Healthier Generation, where the school actually puts in, it's a survey throughout the school, basically with PE teachers and nurses and stuff like that. And it puts out real data that will also be included on our webpage here as soon as I get to Kelly and we get the computers up. I guess he gets computers operational again. So probably by Monday, we'll get that all out to the community and stuff. But it's just a basic informational thing to say what we've done and where we're going. Yeah, I have paper copies if you need them, or it'll be up on the webpage.
You know, and I'll brag on the food service just a little bit. I was walking through the high school, I guess the last day we had school, whenever that was. And we were talking about the high school lunches. And, you know, our kids really, they appreciate the high school lunches here. And I'm sure it's the same way at the elementary schools as well. And their biggest thing was here at the high school is they feel like that they can impact and they have a direct voice into making some of those decisions upon what's on those menus. Of course, I still think they don't like the wheat bread and there's some things that they're making adjustments to. But at the same time, I think it just is a job well done.
There's a lot of changes where President Trump's in office and a lot of stuff that's come down that hasn't filtered through the state. So there's a lot of stuff about sodium and a lot of stuff about the wheat and stuff like that. But until they tell us what we can do, we have to stay with what the state wants.
I know.
So a wheat biscuit and gravy, I don't know if that's still not like grandma's home cooking, but it still does a good job.
It's they're eating it, so.
Yeah.
So.
And that's one of the things, you know, when you miss school and so forth, we hate that we're missing school because this gives our kids an opportunity to get 2 good meals a day. And they do a really good job with that.
Or you could be like my son, bring your lunch and still get a school lunch. And
Sure.
eat what he wants and give his friends what he does.
Right.
That's what he does. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, but that's it. I think I'm up next.
Good.
So.
Maintenance request for records. That list gets longer and longer.
Yeah, the list is going to continue to keep on getting longer and longer. We're in our cold months. We started doing our cold weather checks and on each facility, each building. As you can tell, most of the stuff, everybody's up to date and going with it. We did have one really critical problem here at the high school that could have crippled us, but it was dealt with and it's all back up and operational.
What was that?
We had a serious leak through our sewer system that actually came out in our library. But it's all been taken care of, all cleaned, all sanitized, and we've been back in operational since then.
We'd have a professional company come in, do sanitation and so forth, and then our custodians do that.
That's right. So,
That's great.
Is this HMC coming through for us?
HMC came through, but it was already pretty much dislodged, but we had them run a scope down the pipes to make sure that everything was
Our
good.
staff did the vast majority of that, so forgive them for that. And plus, they were here, I left at 6 o'clock that evening, and I think they left a lot later than I did. So, happy birthday, Mr. McCool.
Yeah. But yeah, things like that are going on. Just normal breakdowns right now. I think with HMC on board and the little shift of maintenance where we're more proactive than reactive, so they're looking for stuff now.
Yeah.
Seems to be benefiting us tremendously. So they actually see problems before they're actually happening.
And just, you know, the custodial staff and the maintenance staff, I mean, we're having a staff professional development day tomorrow. They've got Mike Perry's done a tremendous job with getting parking lots great. You know, the entire custodial staff getting sidewalks cleared and to the best of their ability. So we appreciate the work that they're doing.
Thank you. Monthly community report.
Okay, Christian Social Services, money for the Angel Tree program, Kenneth Pitts, Food for Meals to Grow program, Beaver Lodge, $200 for Meals to Grow. Also, the Beaver Lodge is also, Mr. Hacker, I think, if they donated 4 bicycles for attendance maybe.
Yeah, those are supposed to be at the schools, I think.
So they are at the schools now, so we appreciate that. And then Walmart donations of clothing and other supplies, and then Christian Appalachian Project, you all have probably seen a trailer out in front of the school, and Ms. Franklin and the entire group with that, and of all the assistance that they're working with that. So just several stuff that's coming in with that.
That's good. We want to definitely thank our community members for those donations. KSBA report from Ms. Crowell.
Thank you. As you all have all heard and you all know, the board and state manager team completed their revisions to the district mission, vision, beliefs, values, and goal statements. Those were approved earlier tonight. These are used throughout the year. Every time you all meet, every time you make a decision, you think about where do we need to go? Is this decision going to help us reach our goals? So it's very important that you have these and that you review them regularly in decision making. On behalf of KSBA, I would like to congratulate Matt and welcome him to the board. You are appointed by the Commissioner of Education, and I think you were sworn in yesterday, so welcome, thank you. District staff, Mr. Spencer and I will be available to help bring you up to speed, whatever your needs are. If there's a particular interest you have, please let someone know, and we will work with you and bring you up to where the full board is. Also, at our January work session, the board members that were there talked about having a work session with all 5 of you and Mr. Spencer to talk about things that are going on in the district to help you get on board. I left you all a brochure about an orientation service that we provide through KSBA, and it is a training session that's based on just that, letting you know what your role is, what authority you have, how to work together as a team. Maybe you have to make some key decisions throughout the year, the budget being one of them. And then it provides an opportunity for you all as a board to decide what other types of training you may wish to have. So that's just something for you to think about. If you all want to set a date for a training, if you want to talk about what topics you particularly are interested in to work together first, we can certainly do that. You can let me know, or we can talk about it tonight.
We could possibly look at a date if you want, as far as meeting between now and February board meeting, if you'd like to take a look at. I will not be available first week of February, the first full week of February. And I'll explain that.
We have that on the 2nd too.
You've got upload on the second.
Yeah.
So we may want to wait until maybe March,
Even late March or even.
because you've got the school board annual conference coming up.
March, first quarter of March.
2nd through the 4th, or
Yeah.
March
March
3rd.
2nd through 4th
Yeah.
is the, I was going to mention that.
That was your thunder too,
Is
didn't
the
it?
training, that's right. That's tonight. But
I know.
March 2nd through 4th is the annual KSBA conference in Louisville. So.
And I saw in your email that we will have to have charter training.
We are.
So-
Now you just stole my thunder.
I'm
too.
sorry.
So earlier this month, last week, I think I sent the board members and Mr. Spencer information regarding charter school authorization and the training that will be required of all school board members in Kentucky. The KSBA legal and legislative staff believe these regulations will be approved and go into effect around February 9th. However, the regulation is not final, but they strongly believe that the details of charter authorization training are not likely to change. As you saw, but I'll just let the community know that board members are authorizers for charter schools. And if you are a board member, you will be required to receive 12 hours of charter-related training. That is in addition to the 8 to 12 hours of training that you are required to receive as a sitting school board. Some of the charter authorization training may serve as board training as well, and vice versa. So essentially, you will have to meet a requirement of 24 hours maximum. However, some of those, for example, you may take a course on charter ethics, and that may meet the requirement for both charter authorization and ethics. So that's one you wouldn't have to get to, then you don't have to get 23 hours. I sent you a list of
That's
specific.
another cost to the district as well.
It is
Mhm.
another expense for the district.
Yeah, 'cause those trainings are not cheap.
They are not.
So maybe that's something we could tie into that a little bit.
Yes, we could. If that's one of the topics that you want to focus on, yes, we can certainly tie into that. KSBA is still in the process. We're waiting for the regulations to be final, but there may be a conference strictly on charter authorization. That'll be a one-day event that you can go and get several hours of charter authorization. Topics for charter authorization include application, contracting, monitoring, renewal, school closure, ethics, and then curriculum instruction, educational service for at-risk students, physical restraint and seclusion. So there are a lot of topics, and they're very specific. All courses have to be approved by the Commissioner of Education prior to delivery, prior to you receiving credit for it. So there, as you can see, there are a lot of guidelines for charter authorization. And the funding source for that is still not been defined either. Most likely it will just be the district. I too would just like to thank you for your service to your students and the community for serving on your local board of education. It's often a thankless job, but I certainly appreciate all that you do, and I know your community does as well. So thank you. Y'all have any questions for me at this point?
I think probably for the board team, as far as looking at this orientation training, is let's wait probably until April. Let's
Okay.
see what comes out of the annual conference, because I think the vast majority of the board is planning to attend that conference, I believe. We'll see where they come, and then we kind of go back and see what they need, and then we'll tie that in
Okay.
to April.
The program for the annual conference should be in your mail by next week, I would say midweek at the latest. I'll be happy to talk with you about what you're
Try to plan
interested in,
sessions.
and try to plan some sessions if you want to attend some together, if you want to split up, whatever you all want. After you have a chance to review that program, then you can send me an email, and I'll help get you registered for something that will be beneficial for you.
And
So
you may-
any of them would be.
You may want to hold some dates. I know spring break tentatively is scheduled for the first week of April, Mr. Hacker, is
Yeah,
that correct?
that's right.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah,
maybe
it's on
that's the
the
second
schedule.
week of April.
Okay.
Maybe shoot some dates with April and see what your calendar looks like. And then we can talk again at the February board meeting.
Okay.
So if you want to just reserve a date in the second week of April.
9th or 10th, Mondays or Tuesdays usually work out pretty good for everybody, so.
And then, Matt, I would state with you that if you have questions such as, when Miss Evans came on as school board member, she came in, I think, met with Lori, or maybe Miss Manis came in and met with the representative from KDE to talk about school finances. If there's things that you don't feel comfortable with, then let us know, and we'll bring in appropriate people to, either I can do it, or we get someone from KDE to come in and have some information. Well, unfortunately, he's no longer, he's not retired, he's actually working at the deferred comp now. So he's overall, Maria is now the new attorney for
You had
Kentucky
Maria?
Deferred Comp.
Is that who you had?
Yeah, he's
So,
very good.
Started January 1, so,
Oh.
well, there's other people we can bring in too.
Right. And I think I came down and talked to Brenda maybe about roles and responsibilities. You've been on the board before, so you're probably familiar with a lot of that anyway.
If there's things that you feel like you need, let us know.
Right.
I will indeed, thank you.
Okay, all right,
Thank you,
thanks.
Mr. Crowley.
Thank you, Ms. Crowley.
Principal update, instructional reports. Who wants to go first?
I guess B first, personnel. Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I don't know. We recognized over 150 students for substantial growth in the iReady assessment in both reading and math when we came back in January. So we're really excited about that. Our kindergarten class had the second largest growth in iReady in the district. So they do a fabulous job there. Mr. Spencer, like he said, he's been real good tonight about stealing thunder, so that was one of them that we talked about. We've already met in our PLCs to discuss the students and where the students are and our plans to help the students meet those growth expectations. Overall reading, overall school is 91% towards achieving their individual goals, so that's really good. We've made quite a bit, but now that doesn't mean that everybody's going to be on that level where they need to be, but it's their targeted growth that we're focusing on. So we're 71 or 91% there. We're not near that high in math, but I'm just shooting the high points here. And 2 grade levels there are already over 100%, and those are 4th and 5th. Also, the last thing that I want to touch on is the K1 and 2 teachers will be working with the K5 at MES in a book study to help with vocabulary issues we're observing in class. So trying to get a lot more of that team building going on. They invited us over and we graciously accepted. So all of my K2, they're not required to do it, but they accepted. So they're going to go be working with them on a book study. So anything else that you guys want to know? I know that Ms. Hacker went over some of the iReady assessment data with you guys before. Is there anything else that you guys
So
want?
do you think the new math series and stuff we've got is attributed to part of your growth in math?
I do. Math isn't growing, math didn't grow near as much as our reading did, but I attribute to a lot of that to the new series and trying to get that acclimated into what iReady's doing as well. But we're also doing a couple other things. We've got, we do a bi-monthly PLC, another PLC that we add on top of our weekly PLCs to focus on math instruction as well. So we work on some of the stuff that Vonda Stam's working on with the district, making sure that we have small group instruction there too. Our big focus for Botts Elementary School is small group instruction, reading and math.
Okay.
So.
Good. I was hoping that that math series would kind of
Oh,
help us, just because I know we're lacking in that area.
I think it's going to pay off, but it's going to be a process because we've got to get those fundamentals built first. So.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I wanted to start out with a little, going backwards a little bit. I have some great data to give about our students, but I wanted to talk about a couple of things that our teachers are doing, because our students are definitely not the only ones learning this year. Like Mr. McNabb talked about, we have a book study that we're doing with the word nerds, as Lori talked about. It's the importance of bringing vocabulary into the K-5 classrooms. Strictly voluntary. They signed up. They're eager to see how they can apply things to their classrooms and get that across to their students. Our PLCs, the one PLC we've had since Christmas break, I think Mr. Spencer sat in on a couple of those. We put all of our iReady data up for everyone to see. Everyone sees every grade. And we had just an amazing thing. We saw that growth in math was higher for our middle school, for 6th, 7th, and 8th as a whole. And we looked at that, and our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade have a designated iReady time in math, to where K-5 does not. So they're getting a larger amount of time for both reading and math for that content. But what we saw was one area we had that didn't have the growth that they liked. Of course, we want to go above benchmark, but we had other teachers stepping up saying, I have free time during that. I have planning. I can come help you. So they're pushing into each other's classrooms.
And nobody's telling them to do that. It's not mandated. They're doing it on their own. So I think having that type of culture and that type of, it's not your students, it's not my students, it's our students. And I think we're finally getting there. On March 10th, we have a National History Day competition, regional competition at MSU. I know Menifee Elementary is always successful with our National History Day, and this year we have expanded that back into our middle school. So we have about 29 students that will be traveling to MSU. So I anticipate many of them will be going on to the state. Last year we had a state winner in our 4th and 5th grade, and I anticipate we will have more state winners this year. We are planning a mid-February, this has pushed us back a little bit, a history day at school. So when I get that date, I will email that out to you. I would love to have some people stop by and view our projects and give feedback to our students. We had our second Wildcat Rally for all of our K-8 students, and we gave awards out for attendance for that second 9 weeks, and all of our students that had iReady growth, even if it was 1 point in one area, they were recognized. And it wasn't a certain level or your own grade level. If you had growth from that first benchmark test to the second diagnostic, you were recognized. I know we talked about the kindergarten. That was one of our high areas of growth, but I wanted to point out our 8th grade class. Now, kindergarten is one of those areas. It's great to show growth because we have 95% of our students that come in to kindergarten not ready for kindergarten. But at 8th grade, you're almost at that high school level, and it's a little bit more difficult. In language arts in 8th grade, at the first diagnostic, we had 23% of our students on grade level. And this second time, we went up to 56%. So that's huge growth in our 8th grade. Thank you. I also wanted to contribute that to, that is our Google Classroom for 8th grade. So when you're talking about buying more Chromebooks, those students, that Google Classroom is used phenomenally. I mean, it's just amazing if you can go in and watch Tina O'Hare with those students. So wanted to recognize that. Do I have any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
And while Ms. Means is here, she probably, Ms. Means, we want to send our condolences out to your family. Ms. Means' grandmother passed away today, and she came from the funeral to this board meeting, and I think it shows. You know, I asked her, I said, you don't have to come. She said, I want to be here to represent my school. And I think that is setting a culture for that school that is beyond just imagination. So, Ms. Means, I know you have family in, and if you need to step out, please feel free to. But we just want to let you know that you're setting the culture for that school.
So we've got a lot of good reports here. College class success, of course, you see our students. I think one of the biggest changes you've seen in the high school, to credit this, is the attitude of the students taking ownership of their education. Through our Be Nice initiative days, through our Congress that we have with our students, students own the data. They know, and I think it's really been amazing. I really want to invite the board. Our next day, of course, right now we're in the ACT mode until March before we have our next Be Nice day. But I would love to invite everyone out to that, and I'll set that date in our February meeting. And I think it'd be very powerful as you see, I know some of the comments I've heard by board members tonight about students. Education is theirs. You know, and I always tell them, don't let anyone cheat you. You know what I mean? And push your teacher as much as you push yourself. And I think you're starting to see that cultural change here in the high school by them taking ownership of that. In saying that, our Tier 1 classes right now, our teachers, they've really been working hard after school in preparation for working off the data that we've received. You know, the iReady maybe not as geared towards high school as much, but one thing it does do, it's an indicator. And I think it's been good that they've took that indications and seen where students are. They want to put in the extra time into doing that. And I thought it was a very strong showing in the data where our Tier 2 classes was offered heavily for our freshmen and our sophomores. Of course, that's where you see the growth. So then we want to make sure that we're giving that to everyone. And that's why we've come in over the Christmas break. I want to just can't commend enough Ms. Schwartz, you know, Ms. Campbell, Ryan and the crew coming in and taking that extra time, their time through the holidays, that we came in and changed the student schedules to make sure that those students are going to get the best instruction and the best opportunities and make them successful. DEI 3 and 4, I know phases, some people steals our thunder, you know what I mean? But inside of that, the good stuff is, tomorrow we're rolling it out. I feel like DEI phase 1 and 2 has been very successful in our school. I feel like it is changing the expectation. I know a lot of y'all that has the students in the building can take, you know, I'm in the rooms every day, and and not only that, there's becoming a system of what is expected. You know what I mean? Not only that, but it's fair to the teacher and the student to know what kind of instruction should be taking place. And it's getting to be very powerful now that the students can come tell you a lot, you know what I mean, what they're doing in the classrooms, how they're doing, and what's being done correctly, and things that we need to work on. You know, so I think that's powerful. Last thing is, of course, tomorrow night starts the ILA regional tournament. Cross my fingers, and you know, because we've been fighting that now for a week.
We got 5 phone calls.
Yeah, and I've been calling every night, and I know, and I promise you, we've worked hard. And I know this morning I almost get run over by Mr. Perry. He was up this morning at 7:03 with a scraper coming by the board, because I know they have worked tremendously hard. I know all the people has to make sure these facilities have been ready. Can't commend Mr. McCulloch enough for having everyone here, and I know he keeps you're going to cancel again and again and again. He's went through enough salt. I mean, but with that being said, I know this year's been a tremendous year at this point. We appreciate all you've done, and look forward to getting everyone out to support our students tomorrow. Greatly appreciate it. Any questions? Good.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions on site-based council minutes or the school activity financial reports? If not, then we'll down to communication sharing.
I just want to take a second. The tractor trailer that you received, if you've never emptied a tractor trailer, there is so much stuff on a tractor trailer that it took 2 days. And the first day we did it in rain, and the day we did it in sub-zero temperatures, we almost froze to death. But if it hadn't been for the custodians and the maintenance staff in this district, and then some other people, Mr. Hacker filtered in, Mr. Vice is helping out with that, people in the office. But we received thousands and thousands of dollars of office and school supplies. We'll never have to find another penny again in this district. Binders, Robin Brewer's there because she uses binders, but if it hadn't been for this maintenance staff, I don't know if we would have got it off the truck. They worked, and it was heavy stuff. They worked all day. I think Mr. McCulloch was in the truck today for about 5 hours. He kept giving me the stink eye, so I don't know. But I just really appreciate them. Sometimes those kind of things go unseen, but if it hadn't been for them, I don't know where we'd be, so I just really appreciate the hard work that they did for our kids on days that are snow days. People think they're easy days sometimes. And before we leave, we'd like to get a picture of our board members. Mr. Lawson would like to get that picture, so don't you all jump up and
I'd just like to add a few other things. I'd like to, first of all, Mr. Hacker, of course, we're in communication with each other at several early hours of several mornings over the. Luckily, this week's been kind of easy, but throughout the course of the year, I just wanted to, we went to school Friday, and of course, we are in continuous monitoring with the National Weather Service, and those are difficult decisions. And both of us, as well as all we did not at any time want to put any student in any jeopardy or anything of that nature. And it's a very job that we take very seriously, but, we feel like that if we got the kids here at school, we want to make sure that we're providing a good education for them in a safe environment. And I just want to thank him, because that's not an easy decision to make. But we stuck together with each other on Friday, and we felt like that, at the end of the day, we made a good decision. And I just want to publicly thank him for that, because that's never that's a tough decision to make. So, I always tell him that I'll support you, and it's a team effort. So thank him for that, and with the bus drivers and so forth of them being, we're wanting to instill a relationship in this community and the school district that, we want our kids in school, because, first of all, we're providing them meals each day, and we're providing them quality instruction to where they can go into that successful transition in their pathway. So, but that's all part of it, and hopefully we can start changing that culture and start working on improving it, and to where we have a district where, I'm sure we've got people right now that are just, they want to be back in school. And I know our staff, we're having a staff work day tomorrow, and I've reached out to all 3 of our principals and our ER staff, And I think we'll have a very productive day tomorrow with our staff here, and they're ready to go with that. And the vast majority of that PD training tomorrow will be done by the staff here at this school. So thank you all for making that happen for us as we go through this process.
I'd say there was quite a few other candidates which they didn't follow through.
Well, and it's something that, it's something that we are continuing. I mean, we have direct lines to the weather station, and we have those, we make them, we're not just sitting and, going on a whim, boy, we look up at the sky. It's actually a lot of thought process goes into it.
Well, the different weather channels were given different forecasts
Yes.
as well, so
So,
it's harder to.
kudos to that, and we appreciate that. And then I do want to bring one other thing up as far as we talked about the Gear Up grant, and I went through a lot of things with you all with the Gear Up. We found out, I guess at the beginning of this month, that Gear Up will bring in $66,000, additional money that we had no clue that we were going to be getting till we received this grant. And it would be a lot of direct services to the students, whether it be Chromebooks or whether it be professional development or whether it be peer tutoring, whatever it may be. We have to have a budget put together by the 31st. Once again, Ms. Means is going to get the benefit for this for the next 2 years at least, and then it'll start filtering over to where it'll be the high school will also come into play, and then we'll also use our title monies, and anytime we use professional development opportunity to get our teachers and our staff involved to where they can also be a part of this grant. But as part of this, go ahead.
I was going to say, is it 66,000 each year or 60,000 for the 2 years?
This is just the first year, and it's a 7 years.
That's
So
the
we
one
know
that's
that-
the, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is about a $1.5 million grant.
Wow, that's great.
And-
Awesome.
But we have to have that budget submitted by the 31st of how we're going to spend that money. In addition to that Gear Up money, we're also going to be able to hire a PD coach and a technology person to go along that will be working directly, and that could be something that we can utilize district-wide. But once again, it'd be kind of stationed at Menifee Elementary, and but we will use their expertise in the entire district. And also a academic instructional specialist that will be focusing on RTI strategies with the students at Menifee Elementary. So we are looking forward to that. And then also Berea College will be putting out some job announcements pretty quickly on what's referred to as youth advocates. Is that correct?
Student Success Agents.
Student Success Agents. And it could be either one or two positions that will be employee of Berea College, but that will be working in Menifee County Schools with the high school and Menifee Elementary, starting preparing transitions for kids to that next level, whether it be career, military, or college choices. And, I want to be, transparent with you. As far as the Gear Up goes, there is a national workshop as far as building capacity. This is for new Gear Up programs. That will be, that's why I said we wouldn't be available February 4th through the 7th, because Ms. Means, representing Menifee Elementary, Mrs. Brewer, representing the district staff, and 3 of the, myself and 2 of the KDE members, we will be going to this national conference, and it is in Las Vegas. So I just want to, so if you hear that, I
You
just
need a
want-
board member to go
I
as
just-
well?
I just want to be-
He was under it.
But I just want to be transparent with you in that way and it will cost the district, there are 2 of the positions, 2 of the slots will be funded through Gear Up, and we will pick up the additional, but we will be able to piggyback on some of the lodging and so forth. So mainly it will just be a registration cost, but it will be probably a $4,000 to $5,000 expenditure to the district to go. But in order to get the grant off and running in the right foot, we feel like it's essential to go, because I assure you that it will not be a time for of play or whatever, but it's going to be a learning opportunity for the staff members that will be going.
Well,
So
we can spend $4,000 or $5,000 to help
Well,
use the $1.5 million
the way I
that we
look
need
at it,
to,
we
it's
get that
okay.
much, we're going to be getting $66,000, and we do have to, we have to provide an indirect match, and that will be part of to go into that process. So, but I just wanted you to be aware that we're going, and it'll be an educational opportunity for the staff members, and to make sure that because we want to be, you've got Wolfe County, Godolphin County, Pike County, and Floyd County, and we want to be the poster child for the East Kentucky region. And that's why we want to make sure that we're getting this off on the right foot.
What did you say?
No, hopefully what happens in Vegas comes back to Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
I assure you that if I'm going, it will come back. But I'm very proud of that team, and then there's going to be some other opportunities. There's annual conferences and things of that nature that we will have to go in order to participate. So I just want to be upfront as board members to let you know that we will be doing those activities. And there will be other opportunities for other district staff members to go and participate in that, as well as possibly some teachers on down the road. But like I said, we want to make Menifee County, out of this cohort, we want to do the best.
We are the best. We're just gonna show them.
Other than that, I approve all items for the commissioner for approval.
Does anyone in the audience have any sharing or communication they would like to? Oh, yeah, pretty much. Good for Cecil.
Cecil, do you have some?
Cecil, you want to direct anything toward? No, I'm good.
All right, I'll make a motion, we adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries, we are adjourned.